recall the description that you gave at that time?
I do. Well, my best of my knowledge was that you were either black, Latino,
Who's you?
or mixed.
Who's you?
Well, you have to let him answer the question first before you interrupt him with another one. Go ahead with the description you provided that night.
I said that the individual was either black, mixed, or Latino.
So it'd be fair to say you didn't know at the time?
I was giving a general description.
So it'd be fair to say that you weren't sure?
I was positive it was you.
Who is you?
You. I'm looking at you.
And how did you come to that conclusion, the you conclusion?
I'm looking at you.
How did you come to that conclusion? Did you?
What conclusion? Can you restate the question?
You're saying that you gave a description on the non-emergency phone line, correct?
It was on the non-emergency line.
So it would be fair to say at that time you had no name or knowledge of who the person was in your backyard. Would that be fair to say?
I had no idea who you were.
And so how can you say how can you say you then if you had no idea?
I'm looking at you. You were the guy.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
You and I were standing in the same yard looking at each other.
So is it possible you saw something on the news?
No, I had no idea who you were.
Interesting. Do you recall giving a description of approximately 5'9" and 160 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that, or would that be accurate?
I didn't have a tape measure out. It was just a guesstimate.
Would it be fair to say that since you keep identifying me as you, would it be fair to say that I'm not 5'9" nor 160 pounds?
You have your shoes on or off right now?
Would it be fair to say that I'm not 5'9", 160 pounds?
If you take your shoes off and step out of them, they could have a better.
I'm not going to have him do that, but if you're able to answer the question, do you agree?
I'd have to be standing next to him. That's what I made my judgment from. We were about 2 feet from each other.
Does it look like I'm 5'9"?
I don't know. We were a lot closer.
Does it look like I'm 160 pounds?
Objection.
Grounds.
It's irrelevant as to his appearance today, just like his hair isn't in dreadlocks today.
Sustained.
Objection.
Next question.
Grounds for the sustain.
Next question, please.
You also said that, well, the narrative in the report said that the individual was later identified. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that'd be fair to say.
And so would it also be fair to say that because the individual was identified later, that's how you came to the conclusion of who it may have been in your yard?
Objection, I think that's
Grounds.
a statement, Your Honor. He's, again, reading a police report.
That's a question.
Not authored by this witness. It's beyond the scope of the witness's knowledge.
It's actually the report that he
Mr.
gave.
Brooks, I've heard enough. If the objection is sustained, you may rephrase your question.
Did you follow the investigation after you had given the report on the non-emergency line?
It's kind of hard not to see it on TV. Can I clarify something? Or?
There's not a question just yet,
okay.
so
Right.
the state will have an opportunity to redirect if they deem it appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you made reference to it was kind of hard not to see it on the news. Would that be fair to say?
It was all over the news.
And would it be fair to say that from those news reports you gained additional information that you didn't have that night?
Actually, what I did is went into work the next morning and pulled up the police report. There you were, in a mugshot. And I'm like, that's the guy.
So you got a further description from a mugshot?
No, I didn't get a further description. At the time, I didn't care who you were when you were in my yard. I didn't know who you were, what you had done, where you had been, any of that stuff. So all I'm saying is you were trespassing in my yard at that time, and that's all I can say. Other than that, that's all I can confirm. I don't know what you did. I don't know where you were. I don't know any of the other stuff. All I know is you were the guy in my yard.
The guy that you said was 5'9", 160 pounds.
Objection. Argumentative.
Grounds.
Asked and answered.
Sustained. Next question. You don't have to answer that.
And what prompted you to read or pull up the police report?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds. He said it. He brought it out there.
Overruled. He may answer.
I was curious of actually who you were, and
what,
if you were the person that actually had done the atrocities that were on television.
and what prompted the curiosity?
A stranger was in my yard, unannounced, trespassing, asked them to leave, and they ended up catching somebody for doing something very bad, and I was wondering if that was the individual that had cut through my yard.
So it'd be fair to say at the time you wasn't privy to that knowledge yet.
Vague.
Grounds.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
At the time you pulled up the police report, as you say, you had no knowledge of the identity of the individual.
I didn't know that you were going to be the person that had done that.
You keep referring to the you.
You. I'm looking into your eyes right now. You're the guy I'm talking about when I refer to you.
And the record should reflect that the witness used his right hand and index finger to point directly at the defendant. Next question, please.
So you just made reference to looking the you in the eyes, but you would need.
What would you prefer I call you?
You would need.
Because you're not going by Daryl Brooks.
You would need to step out of my shoes to tell my height and weight, right?
I'd have to also stand 2 feet from you.
Hold on, please. Mr. Brooks, you're directed under 90611 to ask a question and not argue with the witness.
Yep, that
Thank
was
you.
a question.
It was argumentative. Please rephrase your question, and then the witness is instructed to wait until a question is asked, and if there's any objection, then I rule on it first. Go ahead, next question.
It sounds like he didn't want to argue.
Jury will disregard that last comment. Mr. Brooks, you're not testifying right now. You'll have an opportunity if you choose to do that later. Please ask a question.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Any reason why you didn't give a written statement to law enforcement?
Objection, argumentative,
Grounds.
irrelevant.
How's it argumentative?
Sustained. As to the form of the question. Next question, please.
Did you at any time give a written statement to law enforcement?
I don't believe so.
Any reason why not?
Objection,
Grounds.
argumentative and irrelevant.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain.
Mr. Brooks, please ask your next question.
Grounds for the sustain. You said you pulled up the police report at work the next day, right?
No, I pulled up your mugshot.
Well, you did say police report. Would that be fair to say?
You can answer that.
I just pulled up a mugshot.
You don't recall saying that you pulled up the police report specifically?
I specifically wanted to pull up the picture of the person that had committed those atrocities to see if that was the person that had cut through my yard, which confirmed it was.
And did you pull up the complaint?
No,
Have you ever seen the complaint?
I don't believe I have.
Have you yourself filed a complaint?
Nope.
Any reason why not?
Objection,
Grounds.
relevant,
Sustained.
argumentative.
As to the form of the question and on relevance. Next question.
Do you recall who subpoenaed you to testify here today?
It's on the subpoena.
You don't recall?
I'd have to have the subpoena with me to read the name.
Do you recall if it was the district attorney's office?
It
or-
was.
Do you recall about how long ago you received the subpoena?
You can answer that.
A month or two ago, a couple months ago. I got a subpoena, so that's all I know, and I had to show up at a certain time.
So you knew it was a possibility that you would be called to testify.
I had no expectation of the subpoena until I went to the DA's office.
So you went to the DA's office?
They want to know. They ask. They want to see if you're worth having as a witness, or if you actually had any information that was pertinent to the case.
And so would it be fair to say that you felt that you did?
I didn't know.
Grounds?
Hold on. I'll sustain as to the form of the question that strike the last response. Please rephrase.
Did you feel that you had information that would be relevant to the matter?
That's an irrelevant question, Your Honor.
Sustained. Next question, please.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor?
Next question, please.
Grounds for the sustain, Your Honor?
Next question, please.
Is that a judicial determination, Your Honor?
Ask your next question, please.
When you went to the district attorney's office, do you recall whom you spoke with?
There was 3 or 4 people there. I don't recall their names. I recall their faces.
You said you do recall the names, not the faces?
No, I recall their faces, not their names.
Do you see any of those district attorneys in court here today?
I see one district attorney and one officer was in the room.
And for the record and for the jury, can you identify whom you're referring to?
I'd have to point.
I'll
Her,
stipulate,
yep.
Your Honor, I met
And
with Mr. Backler.
this officer here, sitting behind them.
All right, so the
Yes,
witness has
Detective.
pointed to District Attorney Sue Opper and Detective Casey.
And that was around the time you first received the subpoena?
It was the time that the subpoena told me to show up.
Do you recall ever being told about the plaintiff in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
vague.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
vague, beyond the scope
Grounds.
of the witness's knowledge, legally inaccurate.
Sustained as to the
Grounds.
form of the question.
Did Attorney Opper ever tell you who the plaintiff was in this matter?
The subpoena told me who the plaintiff was.
Do you recall who the plaintiff is?
Daryl Brooks.
That's the plaintiff?
Or not the plaintiff, though. The plaintiff is, I think, City of Waukesha or State of Wisconsin. I'm not sure.
And it'd be fair to say that that's not a living, breathing human being.
Objection,
Grounds.
relevance.
Sustained, not relevant. Next question.
Are you aware that only a living, breathing human being can make a claim?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant, argumentative.
Grounds?
Sustained for those reasons, and it's also not an accurate statement of the law.
Definitely not argumentative.
Mr. Brooks, under 90611, I need you to move on from this topic and ask a different line of questions, please.
Let's move on from what topic you're on.
Next question, sir.
Can I know what topic you're referring to, Your Honor?
Next question, please.
If I don't know the topic, how would I know to go in a different direction?
Mr. Brooks, under 90611, I need you to ask a question.
Do you know if there's even a plaintiff in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained. Under 90611, sir, please move on from this topic, or I will declare your cross-examination closed.
Under what law and fact, Your Honor?
Under 90611, please ask a question.
And where can I find 90611?
This is your last opportunity to ask a question, sir.
Your Honor, the jury deserves to know this information.
All right, then, the state, any redirect?
No redirect. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down. State may call its next witness.
30.